Greetings everyone. Well, going green for schools have recently been quite a hot topic for everyone in our society. And for starters, people ask how is it that we can go green, and most people suggest going paperless in schools. Well, in my opinion, that going paperless affects two things. It is student in lessons and also how teachers work around their policies. And the main thing that helps this point is schools have started to distribute maybe laptops or devices, allowing students and teachers to do without conducting their work on paper.
I see your point. Yes, going paperless may can let a school to go green, and using a laptop can definitely replace the many paperweights in school in the past. I agree with you that using laptop in school, and I think that encouraging students to bring e-books and bring their iPads themselves in school can help them to replace the worksheet paper in the past, or some handouts that are informative and only used for a few minutes. So I think if students can take their iPads and use e-books in the classroom, I think this can let the school become paperless. And are there any other opinions?
I agree with you that encouraging students to use electronic devices in school can let the school become paperless. And also, I think providing financial support for buying electronic devices is also a good way to encourage them. And this way, students will become more willing to buy iPads for studying.
Exactly. I think the paperless policy adopted in school are definitely an environmental friendly policies, and they replace the paper and using some like electricity device such as laptop, iPad. But I think there are some challenge the school and the students may face. For example, some students may misuse these policies, like because you allow them to use the electricity device. They maybe use that to not for studying, maybe for some online games. So I think the monitoring part for school is definitely a challenge that we face.
Student B made a very good point. I think the attention span of students and how teachers need to grab focus of the class will be getting more and more difficult, because what's on their hand is not notes anymore, but actually they can browse the internet, maybe play games with their device, and it's very hard to monitor. Well, take example for my school that we have the bring your own device policy, and a lot of students in class actually drift their attention on other work other than what we should be doing in lesson. And I think this is quite the challenge for the teachers and also the school to monitor.
I see your point, and I totally agree with you. I see monitoring how students use their iPads is a very big challenge, as students may misuse their iPads and may not like to study, but maybe playing some games in their iPads. Another challenges I may think of is, can students afford to buy the iPads? For example, some students are from the low-income family, and they may face some financial difficulties and need support from the school or the government. So I think this may be another challenge, as iPads is very expensive, and the paper from school are free, not charging any money. So I think this may be another challenge. And is there any other ideas?
Yes, I agree with you, because I think financial problem is one of the challenges there will be, because it is difficult for some poor families to buy iPads. Although the school can support them with money, but the money the school has is still limited. So it will still be hard for the school to cater all the students' needs.
Yes, I think make this paperless classroom successful, there's many challenges we face. Like some low-income families, they do not have enough financial budget to buy the electricity device to display the paper. So I think to make it successful, the school maybe can provide some financial support, like Kennedy said, and also I think the school should allow the student using the electricity device, but also adding some limit, like they need to download some app that only for the academic, but not for, it can't use it for the online games. So the student will not use it to play the online games and misuse this policy.
I think that's a good idea, as like monitoring their iPads is a good way to like controlling the students not to misuse their iPads. And I also think this paperless classroom will be successful for two reasons. One reason is that ebook is less heavier, and paper is very heavy, and it may make the children feel very tired. And if they can use ebooks and use iPad to replace the paper, it's good for their health and for their growth. Another reason is that the awareness of going green nowadays is more popular, and people will want to protect the environment. And if we go paperless, we can decrease the deforestation and maybe protect our natural environment and the tropical rainforest.
I'm afraid I may not agree fully on your points, because you have mentioned that fully going green can spread the awareness, but also only by going green can help the class to be more convenient and help the student to reduce their weights. But to bring back the point that someone said that maybe not all students can actually use the e-device because of their personal financial situations. How I think that it will be successful by adopting this policy is preparing two hands at once. For example, we should prepare notes, maybe some documents that are paperless for meetings or for students that are not able to bring their device, but while also encouraging other students to go paperless and bring their own device. And I think going these two together can bring success to the school as a whole, and also the promotion of going paperless also by convenience and just respecting everyone's situation.
I think that's a very good point, and I agree with you, like making the students more confident and maybe can let them have less trouble. And also I think that like what candidate B will say is like they can let the students to download some apps. I think this will also be an advantage of using ebooks and use no paper, as they can download like Padlet and Kahoot, and is making the classroom more interactive and may improve the teaching quality.
So hello everyone. Today our principal has asked us to get some ideas about how to make our school become paperless. And maybe let's start from the first topic about how will we do this paperless classroom. And maybe I'll have a little bit idea about that we can reduce the giving out of the paperwork sheet and then replace them with online tasks or Google documents, and that will digitalize our daily work, and then we will not need to use papers in terms of giving out homework or giving them worksheet or materials. Any ideas?
I agree with you that you said schools can make the document become digitalized, and I also think that schools can promote the use of the electronic devices, since the technology are becoming more advanced and the environmental problems are becoming more serious. So schools can transfer the homework and the notes into the PDF documents and send it through the Google Classroom or Gmails. So students can use the Apple Pencil to finish their homework. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree on both of your point that we can just allow students to use electronic devices in our classroom. I know there's a lot of schools that already have this scheme called BYOD, like bring your own device. So you can just write on anything that the teachers can just post all those worksheet or materials online, and they can also download ebooks in their iPad, so they don't have to buy those textbooks in order to make this thing like paperless.
Yes, and like you guys have mentioned, we can encourage schools to adopt using e-books and e-assessments so as e-assignments. I believe schools should also educate students and teachers to become paperless because they may get used to using traditional paper books like rough worksheets or creases using paper. And for example, students will have to get used to this new mode, and thus I believe schools should educate both teachers and students on how to become paperless.
So why don't we move on to our next point, that what challenges there will be when we're trying to go paperless. I think the most important thing that comes into my mind is how about the exam test, because there are a lot of AI and search functions online. So when you're giving students the freedom to use their iPad, you just have to risk that they may not do their work entirely by themselves, and it is just hard for teachers to assess their ability when they're learning. So do you have anything else to add?
Referring to the challenges, I think I remember about your point about the UROD, and I think that if the school require the students to bring their own devices, there's a problem that if they tell them to buy the devices themselves, that some students may not be able to afford the devices, and if the school provides the devices to them, it's also very difficult to monitor the usage of the tablets or maybe computers, and it would be also a safety concern about who pays the money to maintain if they are broken.
Yes, you're right. It is hard for school to monitor what students are doing on their electronic devices, and I also think that the devices are unaffordable to some family because some of them are underprivileged and their finance is unstable, so they do not have enough money to buy this kind of devices. When students do not have these devices at school, they may feel isolation by their peers because they do not have it.
Yes, I see your point. You mentioned that it may occur to students that they may not be able to buy those exorbitant priced gadgets which it is essential for them to use during lesson. And another point I would like to add is that students should find it very hard to do quizzes, like especially mathematical quizzes or science subject quizzes using gadgets. For me, doing mathematics involves a lot of rough work that should be done on rough worksheet, which using pencil and ruler and eraser would be absolutely suitable for me to solve problems like geometry problems. But by doing those problems in electronic gadgets, I would find it very hard to do so because those gadgets and pens may not have the flexibility required for me and students to do those problems. What do you guys think?
That's actually a very good point. Mathematics or maybe science subjects, they need a lot of rubber, and it's just not suits the online quizzes. And since that we have found quite a lot of challenges, maybe we should discuss on whether it's really a feasible way to become a paperless classroom in our school. And I don't think that it's not a quite feasible way to become paperless. It's because it's simply just not worth it. The price that or challenges that we may risk is simply less efficient than what we may get, just a few papers we have not used.
So on your point that you talk about the price thing, that maybe the challenges we'll be facing and will lead to this scheme not being successful. But I think that's not the real problem here, because I think the technology advances and our city, the government's quite rich. They can provide us with all those devices even at school. Even if you don't have the money to buy them, the school will provide you. There will always be some kind of available iPads there stored in this IT lab or something. And I think one of the problems is kind of the social environments that we have where like high schools, we're facing those standardized exams. We have to use paper and pencils during those exams, so we have to practice using them. So if the Education Bureau is not changing their policy on we have to use pens and papers, then we have to keep on practicing because using digital devices just feels the same from using actual papers. Do you have anything else to add?
I agree that the government have provided many subsidies to the families who cannot afford this kind of electronic devices.